Tuesday, December the 20th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. We'll begin with a look at the Greensboro Tower camera this morning. Chilly start to the day under a mainly clear sky across the region. Let's take a peek up in the mountains. Well, looks like that camera just went out. All right, so we'll take a look at this Beach Mountain camera, courtesy of our friends there at resortcams.com. That's the Parkway cam. Temperature there, top Beach Mountain at 28 degrees. Snowmaking temperatures in place for the ski resort areas this morning. And pretty good ski conditions coming up for the rest of this week. A lot of snow-making temperatures at night if you would like to head up that way. More and more base depths and trails available for you. And they'd love to see you up there in the high country. All right, let's shift gears, take a peek at the Charlotte camera. There you go. There it is this morning. And cooling temperatures down to 37 in Charlotte. Northeast wind and a clearing sky will allow temperatures to drop a little bit longer, or a little bit more rather, after I finish cutting this video before the sun rises and temperatures begin to climb later on this morning. All right, here's the time-lapse yesterday from the Avalon Pier web camera in the Outer Banks. Kind of a nasty day with rain and chilly conditions, and not the most pleasant day anywhere across the region. These were the highs yesterday, and in many instances, these high temperatures yesterday occurred very early in the morning, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock. That was the case around the Triad viewing area. Daytime temperatures in the 30s for much of the day. Kind of a similar scenario around Charlotte. These highs basically very early in the morning. Temperatures colder than that throughout the day yesterday. Here's your temperatures during the 5 a.m. hour today. A lot of 30s, some 20s here and there across the Carolinas. Pretty cold in the Northeast. 17 in Rochester, New York. It is 19 in Buffalo, 5 in Detroit. 18 in Chicago. That is a big warm-up from those sub-zero temperatures yesterday morning. And it's still pretty cold down through the lower Mississippi Valley. Little Rock at 18, Memphis at 20 early this morning. Some rain exiting the coastal parts of North Carolina. That is with our departing storm system. You look upstream, things are very quiet, and we have some pretty quiet weather overall here for the next couple of days. High pressure building in. We'll see the return of sunshine for much of the Carolinas. Now, the clouds stubborn near the coast today. But a lot of us getting back into the sun, and there's your highs this afternoon. Pretty cold tonight. Once again, a lot of lows well down into the 20s. Now, as we get into the day tomorrow, sunshine throughout the day and milder. How about some 50s, even some low 60s down into South Carolina. And then on Thursday, this next cold front approaches. Due to the timing of the front, even still a little bit milder on Thursday. But then the cooler air behind that front then settles in. So there's our Friday high temperatures across the region. And then we'll talk about Christmas weekend here in just a couple of moments. Let me show you what's happening with the upper level pattern for today off the European model. And notice this next disturbance here in the Great Lakes region. That kind of swings through the northeast. Little clipper system, if you will, up that way. And that's that trailing cold front that moves through here Thursday. Now, here's a little piece of energy that'll bring us the chance of some showers Christmas Eve. And then the European digs a pretty good system out west Monday that then moves in here in a weakened state by Tuesday, and then finally, right at the tail end of the European run, a good system around Thursday of next week. But let me go back to this. You look at this, and there's a big ridge across the southeast, and that looks incredibly warm, and it will be fairly mild, but a lot of confluence here in the northeast, and so some degree of cold air damming will temper our temperatures this weekend and at least portions of early next week. Let me kind of take you through this here. This is the GFS for today, quiet, sunshine. Same deal tomorrow. Same deal Thursday, Friday. Now, here's Saturday. The chance of some showers works in with that piece of energy I showed you on the European model a moment ago. And then there's that wedge. This is Christmas Day in the evening. High pressure in southeast Canada and the northeast wedging down into our direction. So I think we're looking at a period Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. A lot of cloud cover. Mild-ish, but not just blowtorch warmth due to the presence of clouds that kind of hang around. And there's the GFS representation for Monday and Tuesday. Now, the European model, this is Christmas Eve with that chance of some showers I mentioned. And then here we go on Tuesday. That's when that the European model brings that next cold front in here. So some rain showers on Tuesday. That's what I've gone with here in this morning's forecast package. The chance of some showers Christmas Eve and then on Tuesday of next week. And then I mentioned that system at the tail end of the run. That's a pretty potent system out there next Thursday on the European. Big plunge of cold air trying to dive in temporarily behind it. It would be transient in nature, but a lot of warm air ahead of it. That'd be a thunderstorm setup for parts of the southeast if that were to be correct. One last thing to show you here, the Canadian model. This is Tuesday of next week on the Canadian with some shower chances, and then there's that system Thursday of next week on the Canadian. Big low pressure wrapping up into the Great Lakes, showers and storms on the trailing cold front. So that's kind of the deal for next week. And we'll see if that cooler air, chillier air behind the system on the European comes to fruition. It is not nearly as big of a punch of cold air on the GFS, at least with the 0Z run for later next week. But we'll kind of see. If you're looking for snow, I don't have much to offer you. The pattern is not great. You'd have to be pulling a rabbit out of a deep, deep hat over the next week or two before the conditions probably become more favorable a little bit later on into January. All right, that is it for the latest edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.